Hey,
Hey,
Chris. This
what
is,
up?
did you get a notice? This is recorded in case you want to watch it later. I'll put it as a
Beautiful. Thank you.
YouTube or we can put it as a public one.
Oh,
Uh,
beautiful. I'm trying to figure out how to get it on my computer because you texted it to my phone, and I'm like, maybe I can. You know what? Maybe I can send that link to myself.
Yeah, just send the link. It's my cell
Maybe
phone.
we can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you been?
Doing well, man. Um,
Good.
yeah, just getting some work done for my IRL job. I still have one of those. Have dollar bills coming in, pay
Right.
my other bills. But yeah, just been
Yeah,
spending
my
my
IRL
time,
job's about to
all my
pick back
eat.
up,
Do what?
and like I don't know what I'm gonna do, but like my film job's about to pick back up because like the strike's over, and everyone's like they want me to start writing treatments again, and I'm like, I don't want to sound rude, but like I have better shit to do now. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Higher
not like trying
paying,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
better upside for the long term. And
Oh
building
yeah.
a Web3 business is amazing.
Yeah. Especially the way we're building it. Like my whole theory is like if you put yourself like at least one step away from the money, so
Yep.
it's like everyone else has to eat first before you can eat, then you're gonna like for example, I take 10% of the project. So if I want to live on 10,000 a month, I have to make 100,000 a month for the community.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And
exactly.
that's how I did it with my company, Mischievous Studios. So we were making like 2 million a year, you know, because I was taking 10%. So it was like, all right, like if I want to make like 100K a year, I need to make 1 million a year for the company.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. And then the rest of it just went out to artists, bro. It went out to like filmmakers and hair and makeup and set dressing and like every time I put together a production because we're a film and video production company and like viral marketing company. So
Yeah, and if you think about it, if you're stacking ETH and Bitcoin, you're
yeah,
making 10 years down the
all your
road.
money's going up
What you
30% in
had
the next few
done,
months.
yeah,
Yeah.
your profits from this year are amplified. What is
Dude, I
that?
was thinking about that today. I
100x.
was like, like I got like some back rent or whatever, and they like locked it in. And I put, I went on a payment plan or whatever. And I was just thinking, I was like, they don't even know. Like they're locking in that monetary value right now as inflation's happening, right? It's like so it's like going down. So it's like say I owe them $1,000, like that $1,000 actually in a year from now is gonna be $500. Plus my crypto is up by next year, you know what I mean? 50 to, like realistically 5x
Yeah.
where we're going, right? We don't need fucking roads. So it's like I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, no, debt is gonna be silly. Like everyone's gonna be paying off the debt like crazy. Like fuck you, Fannie Mae. What do you
Around the
need? What do you need?
Bitcoin
80K? What is
halving.
that? 2 weeks? Cool.
Yeah, around the Bitcoin halving, a lot of my friends are refinancing the house even with these high
Yeah.
interest rates because
Oh,
of
it's
the
fucking brilliant.
upside and putting
It's
it in
brilliant.
Bitcoin.
It's brilliant. I mean, my dad was in mortgage and jumbo loans, so like basically like luxury refinancing.
Okay.
And then yeah, and then like he was predicting the collapse around like before 2008. No one listened to him. We were the same person. He was like, "The sky is falling. You can't keep fucking predatory lending to broke people, right? They're not gonna be able to pay their shit back." And he wrote all these articles and mortgage magazines and stuff. And no one was listening to him. And so he was like, fine. He bought a bunch of property beforehand and survived and like got rid of his license and now he just does family office. But like he definitely understands the refinancing and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I think that something like that in crypto brought to the right people, it wouldn't be like a for everyone type thing, It would be like a B2B type thing, for founders and things like that. And it's like, that you could just like finance your home, to have
Yeah,
equity
yeah.
for your company. Yeah.
So let me
So,
share my screen and we can get into this.
yeah.
I've got to leave at 11:45. I have a lunch meeting with like a commercial real estate
Oh,
guy
beautiful.
in Kingman County. So let me make
And
this.
you got, I just messaged WGW, who's the one who made that mint page, right?
Say
And
what?
I just messaged WGW or Wiggle as he's known, and
Okay.
he's the one who made that mint page, right? The
Okay.
mint page that I sent you over.
All right, great. Yeah, give him this link and he can join in at any time. And tell him
Yeah,
he
I
doesn't
think.
have to turn his video on if he wants just to go as by his PFP.
Well, yeah, he's not available to talk right now. But what he's doing, so I was like, "Are you available to talk?" And he was like, "What I'm going to do is basically because I was like, if you could walk me through like which parts of the code change, right?" And he was like, "I'm making like a better version of this, like a better code just like for everyone, so that everyone can basically be able to access it and just mint on this better mint page." So I was like, well, that's freaking cool of you. So I asked him, like, I'll see if he responded. I asked him how long it would take to get that done.
Okay. All right, well, let's jump in here.
Yeah,
What's the URL on GitHub? The username or the repo?
yeah, for 30 seconds. Sure. So I think it's ESP.
Your audio is a little choppy. You're glitching.
Yeah, sorry. I just have to get out of the sun so I can see a little better. Here, let
Okay.
me switch.
Yeah,
Let me
connect
just
to
switch.
Wi-Fi.
I am, but let me just switch to my computer so I can screen share and stuff. Get
Okay.
better.
Yeah, I'll
Let me
wait
just
for you.
up the Zoom link. There we go.
Yeah, so
Um,
github.com/Drew Roberts is my personal profile. And then I
yeah.
have a few organizations which you could probably see at least the public ones on my profile. I've got a lot more that I'm part of. I don't they're not public. And so let's see.
I just joined in my
There you are admitting. Yeah, I'm admitting it. /github.com/Roberts is my Drew Roberts Digital LLC. And you can see like all my tokens that I'm working on and that I'm doing are all here. So
Oh wow. It's so many, bro. They're fucking sick. Yeah,
yeah,
the
I've got, I don't know, I guess 35 repositories here. Some of them I do their own organization. If they're going to have a website, they've got their own website for their organization in that
yeah.
organization with their own repos. So it just depends on how I'm working on it for clients. So a lot of my clients, they'll do their own website and stuff, and I'm just working on the ERC20 or the ERC 721 contract solidity code for them.
That's fucking beautiful. Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna put in the chat right now. I'll put in the chat right now the GitHub that he sent.
Okay.
Yeah. And this looks great, man. So basically, this GitHub, like if I were to fork something, right? Like I have my own GitHub, right? Like if I were to fork it, do I fork it and then it basically is going to use like his repos, or can I have it switched to
No,
like
you'll have it as your own, and then you can run off your own branch,
okay.
your own fork. You can
So
make
the
your
cloning, the forking will just basically clone all the pages that are in there, right?
exactly.
Okay.
And it allows you, if it's open source, to do a pull request to change his original code. So you can work on it, or you can have a developer work on it, and then
Okay.
do a pull request, which comes back and can update the code once he approves it. Or he
Okay.
can send back comments and highlight pieces of code and say, do this differently and all that. Like the one that I spent a year on, all these Laravel packages at github.com/tipoff. I used to own tipoff.com till I sold it this spring.
Oh wow.
And all these packages are PHP Laravel packages, which
wow.
imported open source to any Laravel project.
That's so cool.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them, 37 here, and then some of them are under Drew
So you were
Roberts.
the perfect person to bring into Ethscriptions, man.
Man, I'm
You
a
want
GitHub geek.
this entire thing.
I can get commit with the best of them and
Yeah.
get
Well, I'm saying you understand the
free,
entire, open
get
source
merged.
ethos, right? Like that the fact that like all this
Oh yeah,
stuff
I've
is
spent my whole
printed up.
career in
Yeah.
yeah, I've spent my whole career in, starting into PHP, it's all open source. And you just
Yeah.
stand on the giants of people that come before you. Now
Yeah, exactly.
all over
And it
open.
develops so much faster, right? It's
Oh
like
yeah, you stand
you're
on
able to just
React or Vue or Caleb Porzio's Livewire, and
yeah,
you stand on top of all these giants that came before you. Taylor Otwell, who built
yeah,
Laravel, and all the open source developers that contributed to that.
yeah.
And so it's like 99% of your code's done, and you're just putting the lipstick on the pig.
Exactly. Exactly. Give me 1 second.
Grab my coffee.
Yeah, go for it.
So speaking of putting lipstick on the pig, so he was saying, the one I just sent you, yeah, like you'll see it's pretty simple. I was just looking through, and anything I didn't understand, I was having a ChatGPT just basically, I was like, explain this entire, code base to me, right?
Yep.
And but even when I was looking through, it seemed like it was basically where is it? I'm gonna pull it up too and look over it with you.
Yeah, I need to log into GitHub. This is my work computer.
Yeah, so what I was looking at
this video to log out. I don't want them to have access to my I don't want anybody to have access to my GitHub.
exactly. Well, here's what he said. I said, you'd be free for a quick call today. Just run me through a mint page GitHub you sent over. I'm minting on Friday and hoping to get done in time. Just don't want to change anything that might break the amazing system you built. Thank you for all your help.
And then he said, I'll try, but it's super buggy and messy. I'd rather prefer to do it more clean, simple, and from scratch, where you can just submit the URL to the directory with files, whether IPFS or other place. It will fetch each mint from there and convert it to a proper data URI in base 64. I'll do it anyway because I'm going to use it for other mints too. So I asked him, that's dope as fuck. I appreciate you building a simpler, cleaner mint process for us, early Ethscription devs. How long do you think that process will take you? You know what I mean? Because it's like, if you can't get it done by Friday, then it's like, we'll just have to, because this is a guy who's like being like, there's a better way to do all this. You know what I mean? He's like a real fucking dev, like he's like a framework type dev, who's like, why are we doing this in 2 steps? He's going to be the guy who like gets gas down on these scriptions to like nothing, because he's like, oh, you're paying twice for like the hex data and then the call data. Like you shouldn't have to pay twice. Things like that.
Dude, he uses, look at this. He used Tailwind. That is the best CSS system.
This shit is a masterpiece.
It's utility CSS done by, I'm blanking on the guy's name, but he's a genius. That's awesome that he's using Tailwind. Reacts.
Yeah, I was getting to this. This is like a masterpiece. This is incredible.
Oh, yeah. Reacts from Facebook. I hate Zuck, so I try not to use React. I like this ex-Googler who created Vue.js. He's awesome, Evan. But
I've heard of Vue.js.
Yeah. And I'm not familiar with Vite. I need to dig into that. But anyway, so to get going, we're just going to fork it. So we're going to fork it not into Drew Roberts, but into my LLC. So we're going to call it, I'm just going to call it Ethcreatures instead of that ETH at the beginning. I don't like dashes in mine. All right. Description's fine. But sometimes, like if I'm forking it, a Solidity ERC20 contract, and I forked it, I'll rename. Not only am I renaming the repository what my token ticker is, but I'm also putting changing the description with the token, the project name, and the token ticker.
Okay.
So create the fork. And I'm talking through this so that way I'll upload this to YouTube, like I said.
This is great.
So it takes a little bit. Now you'll see we are not working on his code. We're working on our fork of the code. And you can see that in the URL, Robert/Ethcreatures. So we're on the master branch of our fork. If we change code and we want to make and we have commits and we want to send that back to him to update his code, that's where we do a pull request going back, and you can see where we do the pull request because it's forked from this repository right there.
Got it. So for example, if you were making like a template for us with out of this code, right? And then I was like, all right, I'm going to fork that and call that PepePunks or whatever. And then let's say on my side, I discover something cool that helps you, right? I could do a pull request basically, and it would send it back to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So then
it goes up the chain.
What you think of from there with GitHub or with Git itself is you create a branch with a project that you're working on. So let's say project is updating the front end of the website. And then each of the commits in that branch are tasks that you're doing. So you finish a task, you get committed, you add space period, which Git adds all the things. Programmer, like old school programmers hate that I do that. Add all. They prefer that you Git add and you approve certain things, certain files that you change, and that's it. It can keep it cleaner, but whatever. I Git add all. And then from there, you name the commit, very descriptive of the task that you completed, all lowercase. And you just name the commit there. The very first letters capitalized, everything else is all lowercase. And you put the first word is a verb. So
like I've been doing on my GitHub, like on the metadata, I've been like,
yeah, but let me say this, the verb you put in the present tense. So like I would say add images. So it'd be capital ADD space images all lowercase. And that would be my Git commit
versus added in past tense.
And it'd be in that branch of what project I'm working on. So
Okay.
that way you can look through that project, see what tasks were completed in what order, and you can go through it that way. So
Yeah, I've been doing that on mine right now, like with the metadata. Every time I add a new PepePunks, right? I've been saying I added PepePunk number or whatever, and so I'll just write add PepePunk number.
perfect. So you understand you understand the git commit format that you're supposed to use. That's the conventional format.
But thank you. Yeah, I was using past tense, so thank you. I'll use present tense from now on.
Yeah. You always use present tense. So like an example of one, and we can come back to this repo. Well, see, we have 6 commits, and you can look at what he did. Oh man,
Sure.
I hate this chore. All right, I don't like his style.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to here. I'll go to tip off because I got some really active ones during that year spree, where I had 18 full-time developers working on this with me. It was great. So like,
Well, hopefully I'll be able to join the team soon once I get, versed up. Because I want to be able to like, do dev work for like the other musicians and like, for people and just be like, hey, listen, I have other streams of income, so I can like help you out. Just let me do it on my schedule. Things like that.
So if we go to addresses, this package right here, you can see I had my kind of like VP of code, Josh Torres out of Washington State. He merged a pull request, and you can click it and you can go look at what lines of code was changed. And so I can review it, or that's what he did. He reviewed it from another guy. I mean, this is at the end, I handed this off to Josh Torres to update.
Yeah.
And you can see what the commit was, what the pull request was. Here's all the description of that pull request. It was done by dev JK1, and you can see it solves issue number 73. So you tag that issue.
Cool.
And here's the issue that I created. This was the project, the tasks that I wanted done. A project. You do issues are related to a whole project. They're related to a whole branch that you would create. So here's the project. Here's what I want. I relate to other issues, so that way you can see that this is the country calling code. You've got the country. So that the whole point of this is to show up with the American flag, with the phone number formatted, with the +1 or the +57 for Colombia. You can verify the number, and it's saved to the database. And this is all in the back end admin section of the website. So here's what it looks like. Here's a blog post on the code that I want included, the open source code that I want to include it from Twilio. And then here's some comments. He has some questions about it. And then you can see each of the pull requests or are coming in. And so I can go back to that pull request, which would be at the bottom there. And this is the description of the pull request. So it removes the phone component. It does country calling code, These are the things that were completed. Here's an example of the code that would be included on the front end of the website because of these admin changes. Here's the controller update. That's kind of a geeky thing. And then here is what I'm talking about. These are the tasks in the order of which he completed, and you have the exact timestamp of when he completed those. So that's the first one, and I don't like the way he did this. You're supposed to capitalize the front. This was a group that likes to use an external like issue system, which I hated. But typically this would just be the way I would do it is get rid of the goobly gop on the front. And you do remove with a capital R, and then everything else lowercase, just like he did here. Exactly. The task. It's what you would call the task that you did. And so I can look into each one of these. Like he removes the import and this git commit. So all he did was
that's cool.
All he did was just delete one line of code to accomplish that task. So I can look in any of the tasks. Then we've got, you can leave comments here. He had an error, so he came back and fixed that. That was the feedback from Josh Torres when he was reviewing the code. He had when he reviewed the code, Josh got back with him and said that he had an error, so he fixed that. And then Josh approved the code, left a comment, thank you. And then he kicked it over to somebody else to review. and he did that. And then here we go. I'm doing another project iteration referencing this one
Yeah.
right here. So, and this is in a whole nother
Wow.
entire code base where I reference that previous.
That's cool.
Yeah. So you
So it
can
starts to build upon itself where there's like a,
previous projects.
bigger,
Oh yeah, GitHub is
So
amazing.
cool. That's
Yeah,
beautiful,
we need
man.
a Web3 version of GitHub, a decentralized one. But for right now, this is the best Web2 version for version controlling your code.
Now, what would it look like? So the code would be, hosted on GitHub, right, for the contract and everything, right?
Yep.
And so what would it look like on our front end? I don't know if you've gotten a chance to check out Bubble yet. I don't know if I can do something like this with Third Web in terms of like, integration. I could definitely do like a token gate,
Yep.
but like I've used it like to token gate, like mint pages that were made like by protocols. Like Decent makes the mint page for you, right? So what I did to token gate that is I just wrapped it in an iframe and did that through Third Web because Third Web is very, very simple. But looking at something like Bubble, I can pull it up or pull it up in your system too, but I think
You
it's
can
Bubble.
also do NFTs to like NFTs are an iframe, so you can point that URL of that
Yeah.
NFT.
Well, that's why I want to
to-
learn more JavaScript and Tailwind
Yeah,
and stuff.
to a
because-
website that has
Yeah.
an image that can be used as PFP.
So my thesis
And
for
then there's
dynamic
an
NFTs
enter
is like that.
Yeah, and then there's an enter button that uploads a JavaScript. Orbs BT is my favorite example of this. It blows my
Yeah.
mind when he came out.
That's I've been wanting to do dynamic NFTs since I got into the space, and that's why I was like, oh, I need to like learn like Tailwind and really get into JavaScript because that's how it's going to be done, right? It's going to be incredible. Like you can like go to a side chain and just be like, all right, grab this data, or grab like their game score or whatever, So I would love to eventually integrate Ethscriptions in that, where Ethscriptions is where people are, putting their scores down,
So I won't work with
data.
anybody on my projects anymore unless they know how to use Tailwind.
Nice.
Front end developer.
That's
so
great.
Tailwind, and it's done by a Canadian named Adam Wathen.
Yeah.
He's cool. He has his own podcast. You can dive in deep. He's got his own tutorials for Tailwind. Shows how
because HTML and CSS are my thing. Like that's what I know. And then the other one I learned C+ like years ago for gaming. But the other one I know is like Liquid, Shopify's fucking custom coding language, right? But that's just basically CSS and HTML, right?
Exactly. But anyway, this is the sexiest code available.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
In development.
It's so readable too, and it's just like, and also I've like memorized all of that. Like I know what everything does, so I'm like,
it's amazing. Adam,
close to plain
I've
text
hung
as it
out
gets
with
for me.
Adam at multiple conferences.
Really?
Great guy. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
All the Laravel crew, Taylor Porzio,
Wow.
From Livewire, all those Laravel guys at the Laracons.
Let me see if I can screen share with you, and I'll pull up some of the Bubble things, and I'll show you kind of how it. Do that.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'll go back to our branch of your repository. So I just go to github.com/Roberts, and I see ETH Creatures, the repository. So I click on that URL. If you want to go directly to it, it's github.com/Roberts/ETH Creatures. So here we are. What do you want me? What type of project pull requests do you want me to do with this code, or help you get done through developers?
So basically what I was thinking is just you can't see the site anymore. I guess it like went down, but I saw it for a second, and it was just a basic mint page that has the randomized function, right? That pulls a random piece of art, pulls it up there, doesn't tell you the rarity or anything, right? Just shows you the art. And then you can hit mint, or you can hit, pick a new one, and it was random. And then when you hit mint, it takes the image, it changes it to hex 64, right? So that it's inscribable. Then it describes it. It has the person pay for gas, right? So it has them sign and pay for gas, and then transfers their name as the new owner, right? Okay. Essentially sending it to them, like transferring it to them. And so that's what's in here. That's what this does right here, right? And so I'm just trying to find out from him, like, what do I need to change? Like, there's obvious stuff like, let me see which spot
you got to change the front end design.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't how am I able to like see this? I go to ethscreatures.dino.dev and it's not showing anything, right? So I don't know if there's a way to actually see the front end here, but I would need to basically go on Bubble and create the front end, right? The look, unless there's a front end
Yeah, so
built
what I
here.
do is
Yeah.
I add a Git actions file that
Mhm.
will run whatever scripts you want, upload it to whatever AWS or Google Cloud. I use Google Cloud, so I've got a Google Cloud provisioning for a serverless environment. So it spins up a server. I've got I can
Wow.
run my domain
Well,
to
because that's the thing. Eventually, we can build it out to be really robust, right? But right now, I was thinking just, what's the bare minimum we have to change? Like in the config .mjs, there's like, owner address, obviously, mint contract, obviously, we'll have to change that, the mint price, things like that. My main thing is figuring out like that contract.ts, like where does that, like, does the contract basically, do we need to mint a dumb contract on the descriptions first? Right, or like where are we minting like the contract, and things
Yeah.
like
So
that. Yeah.
what we'll do is you'll use your GitHub username, connect with me on GitHub. I'll add you as an admin or editor rights to this repository in the Drew Roberts Digital LLC organization. And then what you'll do is you'll come in here and create not pull requests, but you'll create issues. So let me find out where they put issues. I think I gotta go in settings to enact issues. Give me just a second. I'm forgetting how to do this. Issues right here. Boom. Issues. It updated because of their version of Livewire that Caleb Porzio geeked out on and built a better version. It's amazing. So now we go back. Now we've got, if I refresh, we should have issues right here. So you'll create a new issue. You'll call it update front end. Let's see. Hey, Christian, is that your username?
Yes.
We'll provide comments below with details of what he wants for the design of the site. Boom, submit new issue. So now you got issue number 1. So it's real simple. Love their URL structure. It's good. It's your repo /issues/1. Issues and pull requests go numerically combined in order. So you can have pull request number 2 that solves issue number 1. And then you can have, if you have 5 issues, pull request would be number 6, solving issue number 1. It all is pretty magical the way they set this up.
That's cool.
So then what you would do is you would tweet out, here's my GitHub issue. You would be like the Cardano nerds that came up with this. You would assign a bounty and say, I'll give $1,000 of ETH to anybody who does a pull request on this repository and solves this issue. So the coders would come in, they'd fork this, they create their own branch for their project of solving this issue. They would do the GitHub commits on it. They would kick it back to you. You would review the pull request like I showed you earlier, go through it. If approved, you pay them the ETH and they rock and roll, man.
It's awesome.
That's how you get stuff done in Web3 when it comes
Sick.
to market. So
Sick.
yeah. So
That's
that's
kind of like how we're doing the bounty system in the PepePunksDAO. We have a bounty system like that, So it's like not coding, right? But it's like, if you show that you did this thing and you prove it, then we approve it and we get paid.
Yep. So it's 11:45. I got to run to lunch. I'm going to send. I'm going to add you to this repo, this repository, and I'm going to upload this video onto YouTube later today. So if you have any questions, you can rewatch certain segments of it, and you can share it with whoever else you want to share it with your team on PepePunksDAO. And you can have them. You can give them access to this, and they can create their own issues as well. You can. It's a team, community, open source effort with a bunch of contributors, and the contributors are either thinking of ideas to improve it and creating issues, or they're forking it, working on projects and creating pull requests.
Yes. This is brilliant, man. Well, I'm going to be doing all my work through this then, and then you'll be able to like kind of like check my work, because you can actually see, right? You'll be able to
Yeah.
see everything I do.
And
on my
I'll help
GitHub.
you review pull
Yeah.
requests. Both you and I will review pull requests before we merge it
beautiful.
into the code
Cool.
base.
Excellent. And my last question is there any easy way to integrate this with Visual Studio Code?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So let me,
Yeah.
I don't have VS Code on this computer. Damn it. I wish I was on my actual dev computer.
Even if you don't have time for it now, you just send me a link later,
so
and I can just
you in Visual Studio Code, you have Git. So you will Git clone this URL, this repository, and that will download all this code into a folder structure system, this exact same folder structure onto your code. I do it
Okay, great.
at your root directory /code. If you go to laracast.com, I'll send you my login, or you can create your own, and look at the way he lives in Orlando, Jeff Way, and he's brilliant, and he's the best teacher of programming I've ever watched.
Really?
And he lives in Winter Park.
Wow, let's go.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. He moved down from Tennessee. So you can use his course on how you do VS Code in a local development environment, and geek out. You can use it with Docker, spin up your own. Oh man, I can.
That's great.
It's just good.
Yeah, I saw there was some tools now. I think it was Grok or some other AI that's starting to work with Visual Studio Code. I think it was Grok, right? That was going to be like the internal. Yeah, that's bananas, man.
It's all man. Wait till we get all this.
It really gives you hope. You know?
Wait till we get code a little bit more integrated on the blockchain. I mean, we already have like open source code and ERC structure system.
Yeah.
So
well, that's why I'm glad to get you on Ethscriptions, man. Because Ethscriptions is completely open source, and it's an open source protocol, right? That we're all adopting. So I'm just really, it's on and it's on chain, and it's based in Rubidity. It's based in Solidity and Ruby and some JSS. So like, I think you need to know that in terms of the coins, that the block, I think it's 18 or 1.8 million, block like 1.8 million or something like that. That's when they're going to turn on the dumb coins. So that's like probably tomorrow or today. So just so you know, like the shitcoin market in Ethscriptions opens like any second now. Like I'm going to check the blocks. So
let's go.
And Ordex just got their token thing up in time, and everyone's ready. So it's really an amazing time. It's going to be an incredible week, an incredible end of the year, and the market's running. So,
it'd be fun to be the first.
Dude, I got you in right under the wire, man. I really did. Like I got you in right under the wire, and I hope you really do well in this space. And you saw some of the people that I put you in.
I love on-chain stuff. On-chain stuff is the best.
I couldn't have picked a better person to join the fam. I'm like the baby dev in the group, but I'm just like the connector. I'm like, have you met this person? Because like you guys, like all the smartest people I know are now in the group chat building together. And I'm like, yeah, Ethscriptions to the fucking moon. This is what happened with Inscriptions and with Ordinals. The Ordinals team, I was talking to them on Violetta Space. They were like, we didn't know. We were just some people fucking around, and then like now we're like the next, Satoshis. Right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
they're like the next like Vitalics with this thing. Like
modern day, modern day Satoshis.
It's amazing.
We're all Satoshi. We are all
Satoshi.
All right.
I really appreciate your time, Jim.
And I'll upload this on YouTube for your team.
Beautiful, man.
And you all just use this repository and you do your thing, man. Just create your issues and kick them out on Twitter for bounties and get some shit done.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
If you have any devs that you like, send them over to me as well.
Will do. Yeah, I'll introduce them to you. The ones that I like working with, and they can do it for the bounties.
Beautiful, brother.
All right.
I appreciate you, man.
Take care.
What's up?